My name is Lidiya Yankovskaya, and I'm the conductor of this production of Don Giovanni. I think Don Giovanni is one of Mozart's favorite operas and best known ones, and one that has survived through time the best. Perhaps because it has so many different sides to it. There's so many different kinds of characters. Each character can be interpreted in so many different ways. De Ponte's libretto and Mozart's setting of it are absolutely brilliant in that they show the humanity of every single person we see on the stage. Because of this humanity, there's a lot of flexibility as to how the opera is interpreted, depending on the social atmosphere of the time, depending on the creatives who are involved. And that allows the opera to continue to thrive no matter what era we're in. To me, one of the most interesting things about Don Giovanni is the way each character's music differs from the other. In Mozart, in general, there's this brilliance about, although it's all unmistakably Mozart, making sure that each character has their own sound world, that each character's personality and their change over the course of the opera are reflected in their arias and their musical material in general. What's interesting is that although the opera is called Don Giovanni only has two very brief arias that aren't particularly showy or particularly dramatically interesting. Donna Anna and Donna Elvira, in particular, have each a number of arias. Each is very different from the other. They are virtuosic vocally and technically, but they're also dramatically really intense. They also have some accompanied recitativo sections that bring focus to what they're feeling in the moment. They give them a much stronger dramatic arc. To me, the opera is really about Donna Anna and also Donna Elvira and their arc over the course of the opera. Also, Leporello gets one aria, Madamina, which is also just cataloging certain things for Don Giovanni. It's not nearly as showy. Don Ottavio also has an aria that wasn't even in the original version of the score, that's sometimes done, sometimes not. So it's Elvira and Anna who get all of the focus, all of the attention, all of the dramatic and musical variety that is possible in the score. And that makes their characters the most interesting, I think, to interpret and to perform. Donna Elvira in particular has a very interesting character arc, and she comes in and she's angry and she's fueled by this anger and desire to find the man who has betrayed her. And you hear that as well as the strength and the determination from the moment she enters the stage and from the moment she begins to sing. Over the course of the opera, although she never quite forgives Don Giovanni, she finds it in her heart to give him an opportunity to repent, despite the way that she has been wronged. And you hear that in her music. Her music becomes much more lyrical. In the middle of the opera, there's a back and forth. We go back and forth between this strong, kind of angry, determined music and something a little more questioning, perhaps. And then towards the end, it is determined, but in a very different way. She has found peace with what has happened to her. She has found it in her heart to give Don Giovanni another chance, even if not to fully forgive him. Of course, unfortunately, at the end, he doesn't take advantage of this. He mocks her. He doesn't want to listen to what she has to say, and he gets dragged down to hell as a result. To me, Don Giovanni is timeless. It speaks to the kinds of issues that we see throughout history and we will probably continue to see throughout history. I think it speaks to the kind of strength and courage it takes to overcome abuse or to overcome being face to face with someone who feels the need to assert their dominance in a certain way or to take advantage of a person. I think it's very important for us to see these issues portrayed in a nuanced way. It's important for us to come to terms with the fact that this is part of humanity and part of the human experience. And it's important for us to portray the victims on the stage and to portray them in a true way that is fair to them and that it shows the kind of determination and courage that they must have in order to move forward. I strongly believe that opera and art in general are more important now than ever. And it is such a shame that during this time when so many of us feel alone or disjunct from the rest of the world, and we need to be able to turn to art, this is the time where we can't access art, in particular performing arts. And what's beautiful about opera is its ability to touch us emotionally in a way that no other art can, because it combines the power of all of the different art forms into one. And it is so wonderful and magical that despite the current situation, Seattle Opera is putting in an enormous amount of effort to make this possible, to make sure that everyone, even sitting at home, can experience opera. And of course, normally on video, opera is not quite the same as it is in the theater. And if you're seeing just a recorded recording of a past production, that was meant to be performed on the stage. It will never feel in the home the way it does in the theater. What we're doing here is different. We're not trying to videotape something that is meant to this for the stage. We're creating a whole nother piece of art, a piece of art that is meant to be viewed at home on your video screens and on the computer screens, um, so that you can really feel connected to this production of Don Giovanni despite not being able to go to the theater. I just like to also commend our singers, our incredible cast, for bringing this to life. As singers, opera singers are trained to perform on the stage, which requires a totally different dramatic approach. And they're not trained to be recording artists working on film. And yet, every single one of our cast members has so swiftly and quickly adjusted to working in this medium, to singing in the studio and making it really work for the function that this particular production will have. And we have just such a talented group of singers who are rising superstars, or in some cases already moving into that superstar category. And it is such a privilege to work with every single one of them. And I know that it's going to be just a spectacular, spectacular performance, and a performance that is for today and of today, and made for viewing at home in a way that not very many performances are created these days.